Hi, I'm Jeff Broadbent, composer for Nexon Games. Hello, thanks so much for attending this conference session. I'm Jeff Broadbent, composer for the Nexon Games Zeus and HIT2. I'm very excited to discuss with you the composing and recording process of these two game scores. During this presentation, we'll use the following organization. We will begin with a composer introduction and background, followed by an in-depth discussion of the Zeus game and its musical score. We'll then proceed to discuss the HIT2 game and its musical score, followed by an overview of the recording and mixing process we used with both games. Finally, as a conclusion, I'll talk about what it's like being a freelance music composer, touching upon my many years of experience working with studios all around the world, education and training, as well as freelance business practices. Let's dive in. I'd like to give some background on my history and experience as a composer. My whole life, I've loved video games and music. I grew up playing the piano and saxophone at an early age and composing as a youth. I was captivated by video games and the immersive and imaginative worlds they create, and always knew that I wanted to compose video game soundtracks. I've been fortunate to have the opportunity to compose for many beloved video game franchises, including Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, Resident Evil, PUBG Mobile, Monster Hunter, Final Fantasy, Record Keeper, Honor of Kings, Arena of Valor, movie video games including Transformers, Avatar, Marvel, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Magic Legends, a video game based on the popular Magic the Gathering card game. I've won many composing awards, including 4 Hollywood Music and Media Awards for video game music, a Game Audio Network Guild Award, 7 Global Music Awards, and more. In addition to video games, I've had music used in trailers and promos for films and television shows such as X-Men, Fantastic Four, RoboCop, Dragon Ball Z, Game of Thrones, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and more. I'm a member of the Recording Academy Grammy Awards, and I've recorded orchestra scores in Los Angeles, Seattle, Budapest, Prague, and also conducted music live at the Shanghai Oriental Sports Center for an esports event with 10,000 spectators. Let's begin by discussing the music scoring of the game Zeus. Zeus was a very fun and imaginative game to compose music for. This game is in the MMO real-time strategy genre. The basic gameplay involves large-scale troop battles in real time, with each kingdom server having its own timeline. A key creative decision for this game was that unique mythology and cultural aspects from various cultures would be incorporated into the game. This helped to give a connection and community with players all around the world and gave us many interesting music styles from various cultures to draw from. It was truly a wide musical palette to experiment with, and a joy and honor to bring the rich heritage of world music to this game. The music system of Zeus revolves around different world regions. We decided to focus upon 7 different national regions: Korea, Egypt, Greece, India, Japan, China, and Norse cultures. The musical foundation for these national themes was that each region needed a strong, unique, identifiable, and memorable music theme. It was essential that each region had its own musical personality and identity. We wanted these music tracks to become the musical signature of their regions, and something that game players would remember and have an emotional connection with. We further developed the music system by having 2 basic types of themes: hero and village themes. Hero themes are designed to be bold, powerful statements, using full orchestra and textures. They are to make an immediate and focused impression upon the player, and to quickly convey the sense of the region they represent. Village themes, in contrast, are more subdued and peaceful. Rather than using large orchestra, they focus on smaller ensembles and soloists, while still having clear national and regional identities. Field music was the 3rd category of music tracks in Zeus. While the national themes are composed to be very upfront and make a strong musical statement, these field music tracks are more background-oriented. They use subtle and gentle melodies and are designed to give emotions of calm and peacefulness. Battle music was another category of the Zeus music system. The battle music was broken down into 3 types of battles: large, medium, and small. Each of these different battle scenarios would have different musical qualities for variety and clarity. The large battles focused on full orchestra ensembles, as well as choir sometimes. The tempo was also slower than the medium and small battle music, to give further sense of size and weight. The small battles had the fastest BPM tempo, as well as a smaller ensemble size to give a sense of agility and movement to the music. The medium battles were in the middle between large and small battles, using medium-sized ensembles and a moderate tempo BPM. Despite these key differences, all of the battle music was composed to have sufficient intensity for the battle scenarios, to be engaging and motivating for these gameplay moments. The final aspect of the Zeus music system was jingle and clip music. These are short musical tracks designed to give key player feedback during the gameplay. For the Zeus Jingles, there were various scenarios each jingle was designed for, such as level up, grade up, battle victory and defeat, building new structures such as a sanctuary or village, and joining or leaving an alliance. When composing these jingles, I focused on creating clear and direct melodies that would represent the scenario, while also making them sound distinguishable from each other. For the Zeus clip music, these were music tracks around 30 seconds in length that would play during video sequences where the player would unlock special items or abilities. The music was designed to have a sense of anticipation and also reward for these moments. Now let's talk about one of the most fun and unique parts of the Zeus score, the national themes. We'll start with a discussion of the Korea theme. We wanted to capture the essence of this region by using traditional Korean instruments, such as solo gyeogyam and Korean traditional percussion, and also blend them with orchestra. The harmony of this theme is somewhat reminiscent of the Korean national theme, using positive and rewarding harmonies to give a sense of purpose and brightness. Another interesting aspect of the national themes in general, worth noting, is that we followed a musical form structure of A-B-A. Essentially, each national theme begins with a clear thematic statement. It then transitions to a B section, which has a contrasting and somewhat more subdued secondary theme. Finally, the music transitions into a reprise and variation of the opening melody, using different orchestration and melodic and harmonic variation to bring the piece to a complete, cohesive, and satisfying conclusion. Ending with a variation of the opening A section also allows these themes to be more memorable and iconic to the game players. Let's move on to discussing the Egypt theme. The musical palette for this theme uses Middle Eastern instruments such as duduk, a wind instrument, ney flute, a plucked desert-style instruments, and various percussion instruments from this region of the world. The melody, especially for the Egypt hero theme, uses a scale called the Phrygian dominant scale. This scale is traditionally associated with the Middle East and the desert, and I felt it appropriate to base many of the melodic motifs and general harmonic progression on this scale to give an authentic Egyptian tone. Now to discuss the China theme. This region's music uses traditional Chinese solo instruments such as erhu, a bowed instrument, dizi, a Chinese flute, and guzheng, a plucked instrument. Usage of gongs, metallic percussion, bells, and other colorful percussion also help to highlight the Chinese influence in this music. Melodically, this music very much centers around the pentatonic scale. This scale is heavily used in Chinese music, and I composed the main melody motifs with a focus on this scale. Likewise, the harmonies are also derived from the pentatonic scale to give a sense of unity and cohesion between the melody and supporting harmony. Continuing on our journey from music around the world, we move on to the Greece theme. I wanted the Greece hero theme to convey an almost Olympic-like emotion, one full of brass fanfares, soaring string melodies, and rousing percussion. By focusing on the French horns and trumpets of the orchestra, we were able to create bold and majestic themes to represent this part of the world. The Greece village theme, to contrast, uses a slower tempo and ancient-sounding plucked instruments and ethereal vocals, and solo cello to give a noble and aristocratic sound to this music track. The India theme. This music was a lot of fun to compose and record. I was able to record with an authentic sitar player to give a traditional Indian cultural tone to this music. The percussion, including various drums such as tabla, dholak, and small hand drums, was critical in establishing an authentic Indian tone. This region's music used less of the orchestra and rather focused more on the Indian soloists and percussive instruments to create an energetic and mesmerizing emotion. Moving on to the music of Japan. One of the challenges we experienced was how to distinguish the music of Korea, China, and Japan from each other, since they are all from Eastern countries. One of the ways we achieved this contrast was for the music of Japan to have a much more percussive emphasis than the music of Korea or China. Therefore, drums and percussion, as well as the Japanese koto, plucked instrument, take the musical focus here. Taiko drums, daiko drums, and wooden percussion form the rhythmic foundation of the music. The Japanese koto, with various techniques, gliss, tremolo, plucked, etc., is the primary melodic instrument. Some unique pad-like sound design instruments were also used to give a sense of depth to the music. Finally, we arrive at the music of the Norse region. Strength, vigor, and vitality are the key emotions we wanted to convey with this music. The melodies and harmonies are more direct and simple, focusing on clarity and power. Motivating brass percussion such as snare drums, bass drums, and timpani, and men choir combine to paint the scene of a Norse region and people. The Norse village track uses solo French horn and a soft flute, weighty but more sparse percussion, gentle men vocal sustains, and soft war horn effects to give a feeling of solidarity, strength, and nobleness. Let's listen to some music. I'd like to play an excerpt of the Korea hero theme, after which we will discuss it. This excerpt is from the closing A section of the piece, which focuses on a variation of the opening theme of the track. You can hear in this excerpt that a gayagyeom soloist is featured, playing along with orchestral strings and brass. Violins, trumpets, and gayagyeom play the main melody, while French horns and violas play a counter melody, supported by various additional strings, brass, winds, and percussion. The harmony is bright and cheerful, using a traditional diatonic chord progression to support the positive emotions we wanted to reflect through this music. Orchestra and percussion also provide rhythmic energy to keep the music motivating and give the player a sense of progression. Now it's time to listen to the Korea village theme. I'll play an excerpt of this music track, after which we can discuss it. You can immediately hear how this village music is smaller and more subdued than its hero theme counterpart. Rather than large orchestral sections, it focuses on the solo gayagyeom melody, later joined by violins section. The supporting orchestration is not overbearing, but rather more soft and gentle, using string textures, low pizzicato strings, gentle woodwind arpeggios. Notice also how the tempo and BPM is slower, which gives it a more relaxed feeling. We wanted the hero and village themes to sound like they were part of the same musical family, but to be distinct and contrast from each other. This concludes our discussion of the Zeus music score. Moving on, we will explore the music system and scoring process for the game HIT2. HIT2 is based on the original HIT game and deals with the afterworld of the original HIT universe. Some key concepts and goals of this game are to be the king, rule the world, and make the rules. This is an exciting and rich expansion from the original HIT game, and this large and immersive world provided many opportunities for a rich and varied musical soundtrack. The main theme is a very important music piece and sets the stage for this tone of the game. Before composing a theme, it is important to identify the key emotions and purpose of the music. I believe that main themes should express the heart of a game, the soul and essence of what the game experience is about. For HIT2, we wanted to convey feelings of grandeur, hope, courage, challenge, and adventure. We wanted the players to feel like they're embarking on an epic journey with many possibilities. We wanted them to feel close to the characters and that the world they are going to play the game in is rich, full, and emotional. A vocalist friend of mine, Marith Solvet, I thought would be perfect to record vocals for this theme. Her voice is strong yet graceful and adds so much depth to the music. We recorded orchestra with the Budapest Scoring Orchestra, as well as having usage of choir in the climax of the piece. Having various sections in the main theme, which give a progression from powerful to soft, determined to reflective, as well as secondary themes and variations, helps to give dramatic flow and unity to this piece of music to represent the journey the game players will embark on. Other essential music tracks in HIT2 are the character themes. These themes are designed to be iconic and symbolic for each of the 4 character classes in HIT2. We want each game player to feel that their character class is special and unique, and to have pride and a personal connection with the musical theme for their character. Let's start by discussing the human character theme. The key emotions for this track are hope and courage. Before I compose, I like to think carefully about how to achieve the emotions and goals through the music. I like to think often in terms of sonic colors and instruments, similar to how a painter would think about their color selections before painting a scene. Trumpets and soaring violins, to me, represent the human spirit. They are bright, positive, and noble, and are the primary instruments I used for melodic presentation for the human character theme. In terms of harmony, I thought that using a blend of major and minor harmonies would give a sense of determination in overcoming, challenge, and resolution, while focusing in general more on major harmonies to keep the overall mood motivating and bright. The climax of this music piece has the trumpets, French horns, and upper strings rising gradually upwards to their final cadence, symbolic of the human spirit that seeks freedom and expression. The elf character theme is a special piece of music. To represent this character class, we wanted to express emotions of mystery, beauty, magic, and grace. This music track is less rhythmic than the other character music pieces, as I felt that the legato melodies and flowing textures would best represent the elf race. A highlight of this piece is solo vocals by Julie Elvin. Julie's voice has a magical quality that is strong and tender at the same time. Every time I record with her, I am so impressed by her talent and musicality. Her voice is often doubled by violins to give added orchestral richness and color. Supporting instruments include solo oboe and flute that play a secondary theme, cello counter melodies, and harp and piano arpeggio washes of color. These instruments combine in a tapestry of beauty and subdued strength to represent the elf race. Another interesting point is the usage of Lydian melodies and harmonies. The raised fourth scale degree of the Lydian mode helps to express a sense of wonder and magic in the music. The Seraphim character class is quite different from the elf character theme, and in many ways it's opposite. The Seraphim race is powerful and strong, and surely this music track needed to express these qualities with directness and immediacy. The orchestration focuses on heavy brass melodies and harmonies, especially featuring the French horns and trombones, often playing in octaves or harmonized for added weight and power. The B section features violins and cello sections melodies, which provide contrast from the brass-heavy orchestration of the A section and closing A variation section. Heavy and large percussion, including skin drums, timpani, gong, snare drums, and cymbals, further accentuate the vigor of the Seraphim race. The harmony is generally minor-based to give a feeling of seriousness and purpose. The Kiki race is cute, innocent, and magical. I wanted this music track to capture the free spirit and joy of the Kiki race. Some unique instruments used in this music track are solo whistle and recorder. These lighter woodwind instruments are perfect to represent the cheerful and free nature of the Kiki. Acoustic guitar and lute are also used to give some unique and light solo instrument color to this music. Live orchestra was also recorded to add further depth and richness to the instrumentation, while being careful to keep the orchestration not overly powerful or heavy. The climax of the piece has the recorder and whistle play a duet melody, later joined by acoustic guitar and supported by string harmonies and light percussion. The harmony focuses on major chords to give a cheerful feeling, while using some interesting harmonic modulations for variety. In HIT2, the game has various geographical regions. We carefully designed the music to have a different and unique style for each region of the world to give emergent and sonic identity to the various landscapes. The first of the regions is the Grasslands. The overall desired emotion for this region is calm, bright, and peaceful. The orchestration focuses on classical European instruments, including flute, oboe, clarinet, bassoon, violins, and cellos, as well as French horns and trumpets in moments. Some of the Grassland music also has a Celtic influence, using various whistle and plucked instruments. The harmonies are overall more major-based for a cheerful feeling, and the rhythm and tempo are upbeat to give a lively feeling. The forest region is somewhat similar to the elf character theme in that we wanted to express emotions of holiness, life, beauty, and mystery. In addition to the usage of string section melodies and solo woodwinds, we also used harp, soft and ethereal choir, and solo vocals in this region's music. A slower tempo and less overt rhythm overall was important to give a calm and sacred feeling. Like with the elf character theme, Lydian harmony was helpful in creating a sense of wonder, and also the usage of chromatic harmonic modulation gives a sense of transformation and magic. The desert region needed to focus on Arabian and Middle Eastern music styles. To achieve this, I recorded live soloists playing various instruments from this region, such as duduk and ney flute wind instruments, and oud, which is a plucked instrument. Middle Eastern percussion plays a large role in this music also, and all of these ethnic instruments were combined with traditional orchestra to give the quality of a fantasy MMO video game to the music. In expressing emotion through music, it is important to carefully use the melodic scales and harmonies that will best achieve the desired emotions, and I felt that the Phrygian dominant scale would help impart a feeling of desert-like quality to the music. For the jungle region, a tribal feeling was wanted, as well as a connection with the natural elements. I used native flutes such as quenacho, ocorso, and various wooden flutes to give a primitive feeling. An amazing vocalist named Uyanga Bold recorded vocals, and she has a wonderful quality of being able to create unique and varied tones with her vocal inflections, as well as improvise, so she was a key musical element for this region. To keep with a more natural and somewhat primitive feeling, the harmonies are more simple and direct, and often modulate less than in other regions. The tundra region is characterized by barren and sparse, icy and cold landscapes. The music for this region needed to be much more sparse, and we had the idea that orchestral string textures would be the instrumental basis of this music. One of the techniques I used to give a feeling of open and barren landscapes was to combine very low strings, such as cello and basses playing in their lower register, with various high strings, such as violin harmonics. This creates a very wide, but also very open and thin orchestral string texture that can represent this region well. Usage of isolated brass, such as solo French horns, sparse low percussion, and chimes, further give the feeling of a cold and barren region. The last of the regions, the Volcano Region, needed to sound full of bold power and strength, and give the image of fire through the music. Powerful brass motifs, often presented by French horns in unison, or octave melodies between the French horns and trombones, were used for melodic presentation. Choir was used in moments for added size and support. This music uses bold percussion more than any other region, including the usage of some metallic percussion such as anvils. The harmony is minor-based for a serious and resolute feeling. The HIT2 music system was further divided into castle, town, and field music. We wanted the musical size of the ensembles to change based on each of these. For example, the castle music uses full orchestra and in moments choir to give a bold impression. The town music uses medium-sized ensembles which feature more solo instruments, with the orchestra often playing a more supportive and background role. The field music tracks were the smallest in ensemble size and were designed to be much more sparse and background in their function, as well as having less overt melodies and themes. To give further connection between these tracks, the field music would often have subtle variations of melodies from the castle or town music. This way, when the player is out in the field, they can hear melodic motifs that remind them of the full-scale melodies they heard in the castles and towns of the region. This would further unify the musical experience of HIT2. Now let's listen to some of the Grassland region music tracks. I would like to play some excerpts of Grassland castle, town, and field music tracks, after which we can discuss it. You can hear how the castle music uses full orchestra and large textures to give a bold statement. The melody is often carried by French horns, trumpets, and upper strings to retain a bright and positive feeling. The town music excerpt has some Celtic influence, using solo instruments such as whistle, plucked instruments, and strummed instruments. The hand percussion and shakers give additional life and motion to the music, and it contrasts nicely with the orchestra-based castle music track. The field music track excerpt is much slower and gentle in its tempo and BPM. A solo recorder plays the main melody, accompanied by light percussion and soft string textures. Solo clarinet later enters in a duet with the recorder as the musical theme develops. Despite the differences between these tracks, they still share the same general instrumental colors and a harmonic and melodic styling, which allows them to sound like they're a part of a larger suite or a musical family. Now I'd like to discuss regarding the recording process we used on both Zeus and HIT2. In every project, it is important to utilize the music budget in a way that will bring the most value to the game and maximize the available budget resources. With Zeus and HIT2, after learning what music budget we had available for live, orchestra, and soloist recording, I then created a budget estimate and analysis. I contacted the orchestra to determine the cost of each recording session, as well as soloists I had in mind to record on many different music tracks, to inquire their price quotes. I then discussed with the video game studio my findings and planned how many minutes of music we would record with live orchestra, prioritizing the most important music tracks, as well as deciding in advance which soloists we would use on various music tracks. I also scheduled in advance many of the orchestra recording dates, so we ensured that we would be able to get all the music recorded on time and according to schedule. Using this method of careful planning and execution, we were able to use the available recording budget to achieve the best sonic result, recording with world-class orchestra and soloists on time and within budget. When preparing for the live recordings, I would clean up the MIDI files and work with the orchestra team to prepare the sheet music for the recordings. I would also deliver stems of the virtual instruments to the orchestra and soloists to assist in their tracking and recording. We recorded for both Zeus and HIT2 with the Budapest Scoring Orchestra. I was able to listen in virtually on the session and give feedback to the orchestra in real time. We would often have one orchestra recording session per month, so we were recording throughout the entire composing process. After recording, we would proceed to the editing and recording and selecting of best takes, followed by post-mixing and mastering. For final delivery, in addition to full mixes, I delivered stems, grouping of strings, brass, percussion, soloists, etc., without reverb to allow the music to be implemented in different ways in the game and for additional in-game mixing flexibility. I was grateful to record with many world-class soloists on Zeus and HIT2. Astja Kadric, a vocalist, has performed with the World of Hans Zimmer tour, and I've recorded with her on several projects. Tom Straley is a session guitarist from Los Angeles that also plays many unique instruments such as lute, oud, and bouzouki. Julie Elvin is a vocalist known for her recordings on the video game Horizon Zero Dawn. Julie Seachuk is a talented vocalist that recorded on various in-game tracks. Sandro Friedrich, who I've recorded with for many years, played many woodwinds and flutes from all over the world. Yoed Nur is an amazing cellist who recorded for the projects. Uyanga Bold is a Mongolian vocalist, known for her recent recordings on the Disney film Mulan, who was featured on the Jungle Region music for HIT2. Marie Solvet is an inspiring vocalist I've worked with for many years, who recorded vocals on the main theme for HIT2. To conclude, I'd like to briefly discuss some of my experience as a video game composer and what might be of help to those aspiring to become video game composers or wanting to work with video game composers for soundtrack creation. Education and training are the foundation of being a composer. I have a master's degree in music composition and also studied video game, film, and television scoring at the University of California, Los Angeles. Having a strong understanding of digital audio orchestration software, orchestration, and music theory is critical. Many of these concepts can be learned in school, but long hours and years of practice are essential to hone the skills. Even today, I will regularly study from classical, orchestra, film scores to learn more orchestration techniques and continue learning. These elements are the building blocks of composing. Skill in working with live orchestra and musicians is also key. I grew up as a youth playing in wind ensembles, and therefore I'm very used to working with live ensembles and groups. Having the skills to work with virtual instruments, as well as live musicians, is very important. Mixing and mastering skills are also critical. When working with virtual instruments, being able to appropriately balance the instruments and use various plugins such as EQ, compression, saturation, etc. is vital to achieving a realistic sound with these tools. With Zeus and HIT2, I mixed and mastered all of the live orchestra and soloist recordings myself. Having an understanding of how to mix live ensembles and blend with soloists can help give added life and color to the game's soundtrack. As a freelance composer, it is a unique opportunity, as it is similar to running your own business. In college, I also studied business, and have a love also for this subject. Reading many books on freelance business helped prepare me to have a business mindset. It is important, especially when starting out, to have a solid business plan. Specifically, what are your goals? How will you find projects and teams to work with? How will you build credits in a career? Each year, I try to attend the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco to meet new people I might work with and to reconnect with old friends and coworkers. Using social media to meet new people and reach out to video game studios that may need music is very helpful also. Having a composer website that is professional, up-to-date, and with plenty of music samples and info is also very important. When studios request it, I am always happy to deliver music portfolios in specific genres or focus as well. Over time, it is important to continue to expand your libraries of virtual instruments, mixing software and equipment as technology continues to advance and improve. First and foremost, we should never forget how important it is to love what we do. My whole life, I have had a passion for video games and music. I truly love to compose for video games and to see the enjoyment in video game development teams and also game players as they listen to the music. I've had fans of video games I've composed for contact me, telling me how much they enjoy the music. Last year, a man I never met called me from a hospital where he said he found some of my music online and it was giving him hope and inspiration. I believe that when we follow our passions, we can inspire others and also be happy ourselves. It is important to always put the needs of the video game first. Be open to feedback and revisions. I like to think of revisions as improvements to the music, to make it better for the video game. The music must always serve the video game. Always give your best effort every day. To me, this is the basic rule and habit of success. The best things in life are achieved when teams come together and everyone contributes their talents and abilities the best they can. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Please try the games of Zeus and HIT2 in the future. I'm sure you'll be impressed with the fantastic games they are. If you have any questions, if I can be of any service with upcoming music composing needs you may have, or I can be of help in any way, feel free to contact me at the above email address and to learn more about me at my composer website. Have a wonderful NDC conference.